Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. My name is Liaquat. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves. It's cold over here. I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but the day I'm making this video, it's cold outside. So let's warm ourselves up with a bit of Qudoori Hanafi Fiqh, inshallah. Are you guys ready? All right. So let's start this. So first of all, we go through the meanings of the word. So wakkala yuwakkilu tawkil, it means to make someone an agent. Shira, to buy. Bi'aynihi, with it specifically. Ayn means specific. Yashtari, to buy. And then abd is slave. Wakil is the agent. Nawaitu, it means to I intended. Shira, to buy. And then you've got muwakkil is the person who makes someone an agent. Khusuma, it means in a defense case. Qabadh is to take possession. Dain is debt. And then khasman is the opponent. Aqarra is to admit or to acknowledge. And then you have qadi is the judge. Iqrar is to make a confession or to make an acknowledgement of something. Then you have majlis is the sitting of the qadi. Then you have yakhruju is to leave. Kharaja yakhruju. Idda'a yadda'i, idda'an is to make a claim. Ghaib is an absent person, absentee. Saddaqahu is to believe. Ghareem is someone who's a creditor, someone who owes someone else. Right. Wadi'a is a trust. Muda' is a person who's entrusted. Yu'mar is to command. Taslim, hand over. Alright, so those are some of the strange words, or words that you guys will want to understand. Alright, let's try now tarkeeb. So in wakkala hu bi shira'i shay'in mudaf mudaf ilayh bi'aynihi falaysa lahu an yashtariyahu li nafsihi wa in wakkala yuwakkilu tawkil wakkalahu bi shira'i 'abdin mudaf mudaf ilayh bi ghayri 'aynihi, again fashtara 'abdan. Right, so this is alif مقصورة. So اشترى عبدا مفعول به. فهو للوكيل إلا أن يقول نويت الشراء للموكل موكل أو يشتريه بمال الموكل. والوكيل مبتدأ بالخصومة وكيل بالقبض خبر عند أبي حنيفة وأبي يوسف. عند أبي حنيفة وأبي يوسف ومحمد. والوكيل مبتدأ بقبض الدين ووكيل خبر بالخصومة فيه عند أبي حنيفة. وقال, and they both said, so it's تثنية dual, لا يكون خصما خبر of يكون. وإذا أقر الوكيل مبتدأ فاعل بالخصومة على موكله عند القاضي جاز إقراره إذا كان في مجلس القاضي ولا يجوز إقراره عليه عند غير القاضي. عند أبي حنيفة, just try to bring this up a bit. إذا كان في مجلس القاضي ولا يجوز عند أبي حنيفة ومحمد إلا أنه يخرج من الخصومة. وقال أبو يوسف يجوز إقراره عليه عند غير القاضي عند غير القاضي. new sentence. ومن ادعى أنه وكيل الغائب في قبض دينه فصدقه الغريم is a فعل فاعل. أمر بتسليم الدين مجهول. أمر بتسليم الدين إليه فإن حضر الغائب فعل فاعل صدقه جاز وإلا دفع إليه الغريم الدين. ثانيا ورجع به على الوكيل, so رجع يرجع إن كان باقيا في يده. وإن قال إني وكيل بقبض الوديعة فصدقه المودع لم يؤمر بالتسليم إليه. Okay, so let's have a look at these masail. Now this is the last part of this chapter, alhamdulillah. So that's why we are, you can almost say, finishing the chapter, doing the khatam of the chapter, yeah? So he says, وَإِن وَكَّلَ بِشِرَاءِ شَيْءٍ بِعَيْنِهِ. So let's say this is the muwakkil, and he has appointed a wakil to buy something. So either he's going to tell him to buy something which is specific, right? So either it's going to be something that is bi'aynihi, so this specific car from Zayd, right? So there's a car which is a specific car, right? Specific car from Zayd, or it's unspecific, any car. Okay, so unspecific meaning just buy, like imagine he says, any car, buy me any car. So either he's saying to him, buy him a specific car or buy any car. What will the difference be in this case? Right? So in this case, if he was to be given a wakala to buy a specific car, he has to buy it for the muwakkil. And if he was to buy something which was unspecific, then in that case, the wakil can actually say it's mine. So let's say, for example, the wakil went and he found a really good deal. He can actually say, well, this car is mine, right? But this one, he can't say this one is mine, right? So if it's specific, he can't say it's mine. And if it's any car, then he can actually buy it for himself, right? So it's a very... Now, in this unspecific one, the only way it will become for the wakil is either, number one, he makes an intention, right? So he says, nawaitu, I intended it for the muwakkil. Nawaitu lil muwakkil, or he uses the muwakkil's money. Yeah, so mal al muwakkil. So he's got, let's say, a pouch and he's got the muwakkil's money in there. So if he buys this any car with the muwakkil's money, or he buys it with the intention for the muwakkil, then it will be counted for the muwakkil, not for himself, right? So, وَإِن وَكَّلَهُ بِشِرَاءِ شَيْءٍ بِعَيْنِهِ. If the muwakkil has appointed the wakil to buy something specific, like Zayd's car, that blue car of Zayd, buy that car. فَلَيْسَ لَهُ, then he, the wakil, does not have the right أَن يَشْتَرِيَهُ لِنَفْسِهِ, to buy it for himself. Right, he can't, not allowed, because it's a very specific. So if he was to buy it for himself, muwakkil can take the wakil to court. وَإِن وَكَّلَهُ بِشِرَاءِ عَبْدٍ بِغَيْرِ عَيْنِهِ. If, however, he was appointed by the wakil, the muwakkil, to buy a slave, but non-specific slave, just buy any slave. فَاشْتَرَى عَبْدًا. So he goes to the market, he buys a slave, that will be counted for him by default, إِلَّا أَن يَقُولَ, unless he said, nawaitu, I intended it for the muwakkil, الشراء, nawaitu الشراء الموكل, or he says يشتريه بمال الموكل, or he buys it with the mal of muwakkil rather. Right, so the muwakkil has given him a bag of money and said, use this and buy the car. So if you use that money, it will automatically be counted for the muwakkil. Does everyone understand this? Khalas. That's one masla out of the way now. Second masla. Let's have a look at the second masla. The second masla is, let's say, for example, a muwakkil, he appoints a person. Let's say this is another guy, and he appoints him for khusuma. Khusuma means to defend him in court. To go to court, to defend him in court. So he has been sent to argue the case. Right? So he's a wakil for argument. Right? So he's been sent to argue the case. Now, because he's been sent to argue the case, the question is, if he wins the case, so if he goes to the court to fight a case regarding, let's say, a house, right? The case is about a house, and he's going to fight on behalf of the wakil that the house is his, and the other guy is saying is no, the house is mine. So let's say this wakil, let's call him the wakil, Mr. Wakil Sab. That's literally what a wakil is in Urdu. In Urdu, a wakil is a lawyer, isn't it? Because he's been appointed by the muwakkil. So he wins the case. Yeah, he wins the case. So now he wins the case. Can he now go and take possession of the keys and bring it back to the muwakkil? Or must the muwakkil come himself to pick up the keys? Does that make sense? In other words, can the wakil of arguing also be a wakil of taking possession? Or are they two separate jobs? So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, Imam Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, they all say yes. Yes. right? You can be the wakil of qabd as well. Right? Qabd means possession. Okay, so وَالْوَكِيلُ بِالْخُصُومَةِ, the wakil that has been sent for khusuma is also a wakil bil-qabd, according to Abu Hanifa, Abu Yusuf and Muhammad. Right, so if it's for khusuma, he can automatically be the wakil of qabd. Right, that's in their urf, in their society, that's how it worked. However, what about the other way round? Yeah, so can it be the other way round? So for example, let's bring this up a bit. So let's say, for instance, this guy over here, he has been sent as a wakil, right, to collect a debt. So he has been sent for qabd, right, qabd, to pick up a debt. So this other guy, for instance, I don't know, he owes him, let's say, £1,000. Right, he's supposed to give £1,000. So this guy's gone, he's collected £1,000. Now an argument started. He's taking him to court now. Argument started. So now, can this wakil automatically now act as a wakil for qabd, or must it be considered to be only for qabd? So Abu Hanifa says yes, just like for arguing he can be a wakil and then also by default become for qabd. Likewise, he can be a wakil for qabd and also a wakil for arguing as well in court, to argue in court. Right, this is according to who? Imam Abu Hanifa. Abu Yusuf and Muhammad say no. They say only qabd. If you are made a wakil of qabd, you can only be the wakil of qabd. Right, so if you're going to pick up a debt, you can only pick up the debt. If he starts arguing with you, takes you to court, you can't intervene in that. You can't engage with that. You have to go and tell them, wakil, look, I went to pick up the debt, he's not giving it. Right, now what do? Right, so this is the difference between the two. So let's have a look. وَالْوَكِيلُ بِقَبْضِ الدَّيْنِ, the wakil that has been appointed to pick up a debt, right, qabd. Wakilun is also a wakil of khusuma, of argument, according to Abu Hanifa. وَقَالَ صاحبين say لَا يَكُونُ خَصْمًا, he's not allowed to be a khasm. Khasm means a person who argues the matter, right, a defendant. Alright, so we've learned 3 masail now. Let's move on to the fourth one now. Let's see what the fourth one is all about. Okay, so fourth one is, actually, is there any space there? Oh, I should have done that one masala over there, isn't it? Okay, let's move a bit down then. So, إذا أقر الوكيل بالخصومة. So what's basically happened over here is, let me explain this to you guys. So this is the muwakkil. Muwakkil is not able to go court. So what he's done is, he has sent his wakil to go court. So he says to wakil, go please and just deal with my case, right? You're my lawyer. So now he's gone to court to fight the case against, let's say, this guy over here. Right, this is the guy that he's fighting. So this is the claimant, right? So he's making a claim. Or he could be a defendant. So let's say he's a claimant. He's making a claim against him, prosecuting him for something. So now the wakil, can the wakil answer we know he can answer in the negative, right? Say, no, I didn't do it. So let's say the case is about a car accident. He's hit into his car. Claimant saying, you hit my car, you did it. And the wakil said, look, I can't go court, please you go. So now the wakil is obviously going to say, no, my client didn't do it. Everyone agrees that he can respond in the negative, but can he respond in the positive and make a claim or make an affirmation against his muwakkil? Right? Admit, yes, my muwakkil did do it. So we know he can say no, but can he say yes, he did or not? So Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he says yes. Right? So let's look at this then. إذا أقر الوكيل, when a wakil does إقرار بالخصومة. So a wakil who is a wakil bil khusuma, he does iqrar. What does he do iqrar of? Against the muwakkil, meaning in the affirmative. He says, yes, my muwakkil, my client did do it. In the qadi, in the presence of the qadi. Right, so the qadi is there. Jaz iqraruhu, so the negative will be accepted and the affirmative will be accepted. إذا كان في مجلس القاضي, so long as they are in the gathering of the qadi. So this is the qadi's gathering, right? As long as that is. However, affirmative will not be allowed outside of court. Outside of court, he can't use yes, basically. He can't say, yes, my muwakkil did hit, right? If he's obviously, if he's lying, then he's just going to stay silent. Right? So he says, وَلَا يَجُوزُ إِقْرَارُهُ عَلَيْهِ. Iqrar against him will not be allowed in the غَيْرِ الْقَاضِي according to Abu Hanifa and Muhammad. Right? The only thing that will happen is that if he does decide to, what, my muwakkil is a liar, I don't want to do this case anymore. إِلَّا أَنَّهُ يَخْرُجْ. However, he leaves the khusuma. Right? So he will leave the khusuma. So outside of court, because he wants to say yes, but he can't say yes, he has the right to break off the deal of the wakala and say, I'm not going to do your wakala because you're a bad person, you are. So that's what Abu Hanifa and Imam who? Imam Muhammad. So Abu Hanifa and Muhammad say, so inside of court, in court is fine. Outside of court, he says you can only use no. Right? So you can only say no, you can't say yes. Right? This is Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Muhammad. Right? What does Imam Abu Yusuf say? Imam Abu Yusuf says you can use yes over here. Right? So you can use yes over here and you can use yes over here. So Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, he says yes. So now it looks a bit messy now. Does that make sense? Abu Yusuf says whether it's in court or outside of court. Now, this is a masla which comes in the books of usul. So in the books of usul fiqh, this masla comes, and you generally mention this masla in the case where the urf is taken precedence over here. Urf. So it's like majaz. So in other words, normally haqiqatan, if I send you as my wakil to fight a court case for me, you're supposed to be defending me. You're supposed to be saying no on behalf of me. You're not supposed to be saying yes. But we said this majazan, it actually is allowed. You're allowed to say yes over here. Why are you allowed to say yes? Because in the urf of their time, in the convention of their time, this is what happened in courts. In courts, wakils now were sent not only to argue in favor, but also against the other person. Right? So to fight the case. Just like a lawyer works nowadays. You might send him as a lawyer for defense, your defense, or lawyer to claim something against someone else. Does that make sense? So Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, he's saying in all cases, this will actually go through. So يجوز إقراره, his iqrar will be jaiz against the muwakkil, even outside of court as well. Inside of court it will be allowed, and outside of court as well. Make sense? Right. So this is why when you come across these masail in usul, you think, what does this masala mean? How does this work? Well, now you get the bigger picture, inshaAllah ta'ala. It's going to make sense now. All right, next masala. So let's say, for instance, there is a, let's do it, keep consistent. So there is a muwakkil. And he has a wakil. All right, this is a wakil. And this wakil has gone to, let's say, he's gone to some guy. And he said to him, I've come to pick up the money from you. Right? I've come to pick up the money from you. So the muwakkil is the creditor. He has loaned money. Yeah. So he has loaned money, and the wakil comes to this guy, the guy who's in debt, the guy who's borrowed the money, and he said, I want the money. How much money is it? I want the £1,000. Right, give me the £1,000. So now this, is the guy in debt, is he going to believe the wakil? Is he going to say, yes, you are that person. Come on, here, take the money. Yeah. Is he going to say that? So he says, he either has a choice, right? So he either is going to believe him or he's not going to believe him. Yeah. So if he doesn't believe him, he doesn't have to give him the money, right? Because, he needs proof or something. So he says, let's say he believes him. He says, okay, I believe you. Okay, I'll believe you. And he gives him the £1,000. He's handed it over to the wakil. So if he believes him, he must hand over the money. Now, this, let's say, for example, happened on Monday. Then on Friday, the muwakkil turns up. He meets the guy in debt. He meets him. So now that he meets him, this deal will be done now, right? It's like, yes, affirmation has been received from the muwakkil. Khalas, this is it. If, however, on Friday the muwakkil says, no, I didn't receive any money. Which money? Who did you give it to? He denies it. So now legally what's going to happen is the debtor has to now give that money a second time now. Right? So he either is going to say yes or he's going to say no. So if he says yes, then it's done. And if he says no, then he's got to do it a second time. Right? Second time, he's got to hand over the money. Does that make sense? So, man idda'a, whoever claims, right, so this is the wakil, whoever claims, annahu wakil ghaib, that he is the wakil of the absentee, fi qabdhi daynihi, to pick up his debt of £1,000, fasaddaqul ghareem, the ghareem, the guy in debt, has said, okay, I believe you. Umira, the ghareem will be instructed bitaslim ad-dayn ilayhi, to hand over the debt to him. فَإِنْ حَضَرَ الْغَائِبِ, if on Friday now, the ghaib turns up and says yes, فَصَدَّقَهُ, yeah, now the muwakkil says yes, he was, then jaza. Then this deal would be considered to be jaiz deal. وَإِلَّا, otherwise, if he says no, I didn't send anyone on Monday to pick up the debt, دَفَعَ إِلَيْهِ الْغَرِيمُ الدَّيْنِ ثَانِيًا, he must now hand over. Now because he's paid £2,000 now, hasn't he? So 1,000 is paid over there and 1,000 over here, £2,000. So now what happens with this? So what's going to happen is he is now going to go in search of this wakil. Now who is this shady character? He's going to find this shady character, wakil, and he's going to make him pay back that money. Yeah, so this is basically, the procedure. So وَرَجَعَ بِهِ, so the debtor is now going to get a refund, reimbursement, bihi ala al-wakili, from the wakil, upon the wakil, in kana baqiyan, if it still remains in his hand. If it's still there, he's going to get it back now. Right, now what if it's not in his hand? Well, he hasn't gone into that masla yet. But you guys tell me, if he doesn't have it in his hand, what is going to happen? Let me know in the comments. Check al-lubab and jawharatun nayyira. These are two commentaries, right, for Qudoori. Al-lubab and al-jawhara and nayyira. These are books that you guys should be reading now with Qudoori. Right, final masala. Let's say this whole masala works again, but this time this is not money, it's actually a trust. Yeah, so this one was now a trust. Let's say, for example, it was a trust. So the muwakkil left with this guy, he left a trust, and the trust was, let's say, £1,000, right, just to keep it safe. Now, if the wakil comes to pick up the trust, this guy in debt, well, not in debt now, he's a trustee. So the trustee does not have to give it to him, right? Because a trust is treated different from a debt, right? Trust is there's more security in a trust. So he says, "Wa in qala," and if he was to say, if the wakil was to say, "Inni wakil, I am a wakil, biqabd al-wadi'a," to pick up this £1,000 of a trust that the wakil left with you. فَصَدَّقَهُ الْمُودَعْ. Muda' means the guy, trustee. The muda', he trusts him. لَمْ يُؤْمَرْ, the muda' will not be commanded بِالتَّسْلِيمِ إِلَيْهِ, to hand it over to him. Khalas, mashallah. We finished the whole chapter. How does that feel? Do you guys enjoy that chapter? What's your favorite chapter so far? Let me know. So questions for you guys now. Question number 1. If there is a wakil, and this wakil has been sent to buy a specific item, can he buy it for himself? No. If he's gone to buy an unspecific item, then what's the ruling of this? So the ruling of this is that the item will be counted for himself unless two things happen. One of two things. He intended it for the muwakkil, or he used the muwakkil's money to buy it. Okay, second question is, if a wakil has been sent to argue a case, right, so over here, arguing a case over here, can a wakil who's sent to argue a case also take possession of the item? So answer, everyone says yes. But what about the other way around? A wakil who has been sent to take possession of an item, if it turns into an argument in court, can he now become the lawyer? Can he become the arguing individual on his behalf? Abu Hanifa says yes. Abu Yusuf Muhammad say no, he can't. Alright, next. If a muwakkil was to send a wakil in court to do khusuma, right, which was to defend his case or to argue a case, is he allowed to answer in the yes or no? So we know no, but can he answer in the yes? Everyone says yes, he can. But what about outside of court? Outside of court, can he answer in the yes or no? Abu Hanifa says, and Muhammad say, no, he can't. He leaves the wakala, but he can't say yes. And according to Imam Abu Yusuf, yes, he can answer in the affirmative. Yes. Okay, and next masala. If a person was made a wakil to pick up a debt and the debtor believed him, what happens next? So what happens next is the debtor must hand the money over. What if later on the muwakkil meets the debtor and says, I didn't receive anything? In that case, he's got to pay a second time. Where does he get that money back from? He gets it back from the wakil. And does this also apply in trust cases? No, it doesn't. Khalas. That's today's lesson, guys. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. May Allah bless all of you guys. I get so happy when I feel as though you guys are benefiting. Let me know in the comments if these lessons are benefiting you guys and how I can improve these lessons as well. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you to all my patrons who are wonderful, beautiful people who support my channel on a monthly basis. They've been doing it for so long. If any of you guys want to support my channel, you like the work that I do, please consider becoming a patron, or you can just pay one-off payments through PayPal. Whatever is easy for you. Check out the description below. Details are there. Contact me as well. And I really appreciate you guys. May Allah bless all of you people. Keep safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.